Hey everybody, my name is MetalMusicMan.
And I'm Professor Lex.
And this is episode 38 of the Metal and Lex podcast, where we have a special guest for you, Mr. Hylian 88.
Hey.
Say words, Jordan. There he is.
I'm Hylian.
Yo, the most understated. Yo. He's a tiny gnome. We invited David the gnome onto our
pleasant
podcast.
gnome.
It's very hard to use this keyboard. I have to.
Oh, when you do your research in the
so
background, all the clacking. Yeah, Jordan's been freaking me out here. So we went through this whole thing where we're talking about we're going to do the podcast, and Lex and I have no topics. We don't know what's going on because we don't do anything, even though everyone.
That's not fair.
People, well, we do.
It was Tuesday, and I was mad at the world, and I was like, "Will, we should do a podcast." And you were like, "Oh, it's fortunate we were going to do that anyway."
Yeah. Yes, we were going.
Yeah.
We're going to time that anyway. But yeah, Jordan was like, I gotta prep. He's doing all this prep, and now he's got research. I can see him looking at his second monitor.
Yeah, I got pages.
I don't know what we're talking about. Alex and I didn't prep shit. We're gonna talk about I don't know, Smash Brothers and WoW, and I don't know what's going on. Jordan's got a whole legal team behind him.
The cue cards, the little index cards with his notes.
Yeah.
Oh God, dude! I never did use those in school. Everyone was like, "These are the best thing ever," and I got distracted.
Jordan,
they're not made for people with ADD.
I just had ADD and I doodled on the cards. I drew.
Like they were not. I'd be like, oh, if I flip the card this way, it makes a cool noise. And I scratch it out again. This one is like living with ADD.
I do like hearing all of your war stories of dealing with it, because there's sometimes when I think I might have some, and I feel like everybody has traits of different things. It's like when you say someone has they're severely autistic or they have Asperger's or whatever. It's all a spectrum. So
on the spectrum.
Yeah. So sometimes you're like, oh, maybe I'm a little bit, and then you see someone who's clinically diagnosed. You're like, oh no, I do not. I do not have that degree.
I actually did a lot of research when I was younger about ADD because it hampered my life so much that it was just very annoying.
Yeah, I can't imagine having to actually at a young age rationalize what that is. I just got traumatized by religion, so I had it ezy.
Oh, sure. But yours. My mom's
Jordan's face. He's like, "Well, I did too, and I had ADD." So anyway, why don't we introduce Jordan, aka Hylian 88? You are a Smash player who was good a long time ago, and now isn't like the rest of us.
Yes. Oh yeah, washed up.
Yeah. Former Smashboards admin and
still Smashboards admin. Actually.
Okay, nobody goes there anymore, though.
Show some respect.
Hey, people go there, just not the Smash community.
Didn't you do Project M playtesting too?
I did. I developed Ice Climbers almost entirely by myself in that game.
And Project M?
Wow.
Yeah, and then did playtesting for Link and Lucas and Lucario.
Cool. I hate when he says that because it makes him sound so legit, and I just don't like it.
Yeah, just official. Yeah.
But we talked about Jordan a little bit on the podcast before, so we thought we had so much fun with A2 last week, we would just invite him on. And I think we'll definitely talk about some Smash, but we'll probably table that for now. I think we'll start just because it's everything in my world. We'll just start with World of Warcraft, and Alex will hate every moment.
Get it out of the way.
We gotta get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, Shadowlands is out. It's the new expansion. And there's nothing better that could have happened other than that it isn't dog shit, because that's what the last expansion was. And so we've all been playing and leveling. The leveling's really fun. The dungeons are fun. The story's actually kind of good so far.
Dude, I almost cried once.
Wow.
It was Ysera? The Ysera song?
No, it's Ursak.
Oh yeah, Arden.
Right before that.
Ardenwald was the saddest part for sure. Yeah, it was really good.
Ysera stuff was also sad.
Ursak was good too. So to throw Alex a bone and give him something to think about here.
Good.
The thing that's kind of interesting about what they did with Shadowlands is normally WoW has all this I don't want to use the phrase rich lore because WoW has some things in it that are really good and a lot of things that are just awful and they just get swept under the rug and nobody thinks about them anymore. So there's a lot of cool shit in WoW, but it's WoW is one of those television shows that's gone on for way too many fucking seasons, and there might have been one or two arcs that were really good, and every now and then they do something good, but a lot of the time it's just how does this fucking shit tie into anything else? This doesn't make any sense. So that's basically WoW. So what they did with Shadowlands that's kind of good bad is there's you're in this afterlife, and it's basically it's really disconnected from a lot of the other core storyline routes of the game. And so you go to like all these different zones that are different. We'll call them different factions of the afterlife. I won't spend too much time just explaining, but there's like the fairy forest people and the vampire people and all this different shit. Anyway, you got all these different factions and they're all new. And so what makes that kind of shitty at first is that nothing connects to what you're familiar with in WoW. And you think like, well, I don't give a fuck about any of this. I'm not like invested. And so I think I have to dock them some points for that. But they did a really good job with each little faction, and you really quickly get kind of like vested in. And then they give you some little like tie-ins along the way where they're like, oh yeah, this like the bear Jordan was all sad about. That was like a bear in another thing at another time. And they kind of briefly mention him because he's in the weird spirit place. So from like a writing standpoint, I'm pretty impressed with how they handled basically just dodging the issue of dealing with like all of this shit in their past. Yeah. And like writing like all this new shit that could have very easily been something I didn't give a shit about. And that was like my main concern initially. But it's all really well done. It's like maybe some of the best story questing they've ever done.
It is. And
I've only
been playing the game for like 3 weeks. So as like a new person to
it was easy to glom onto.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I just appreciated that it was easy to understand the story and everything because it was segregated from everything else, sort of like he was saying.
Hylian, pro segregation. You heard it here, folks.
It's separate
next week when we expose more.
Great.
How long did that take? Was it like 3 minutes?
It was only like 2 minutes. Easy.
Let me get my lawyers really quick.
That's why he's been typing this whole time.
This is my prep work.
But yeah, Jordan isn't the only like new person who's been playing it. There's a couple other people who I know, and then you got Gino. Chris was playing the other night, and it seems like there's quite a few people that are kind of enjoying it. So fingers crossed. The main as we trail down off of the WoW here, the main thing that like does concern me is like there was one other time in WoW's past where they had a really amazing launch, and it's generally considered, other than Battle for Azeroth, which was the last expansion, and generally that's considered the worst expansion ever. The other one that I'm about to talk about is Warlords of Draenor, and that is generally considered, or was considered before BFA, like the lowest low. But oddly, it had the best questing and story, and everybody thought it was really good initially. So I'm still in this like holding period where I'm like, I don't know. I need to give it some time.
Get your hopes up.
It is
You're
really
not ready
good.
to trust again.
Yeah, like it is really good right now, but they could still fuck some shit up royally. So we'll see, but I'm hopeful. But yeah, so that's what we've been doing all week. I don't know, what have you been up to, Alex? How's your
okay,
life?
so thanks to COVID, I don't know if I mentioned this before. One of my coworkers who was working from home got COVID and had to go to the hospital and was in the COVID ward. He's old or whatever. So they were like, oh, what if we put you guys on like a bi-weekly schedule so that you come in one week and then don't come in the next week so that you guys don't infect each other? Like, only took you 8 months into a pandemic to realize,
Well, I wish I could say the same about my work, but we're individually quarantining grade levels of kids as they are exposed to COVID.
Why?
Why would we do the whole school, Alex, when we could just do one group of kids and, all the teachers that had contact with them, whatever. I mean, unless they show symptoms. Oh, they did? Okay, well, we'll just quarantine them. But not the school.
But school?
We're not going to remote the school. No, they do send them home at least. Yeah.
Okay, so little Johnny's 6th grader gets COVID. Does that mean that they get rid of all the 6th graders?
That is exactly what we're doing.
Dude, how much time is it going to take until you guys just don't have a class?
But that's why I don't understand it, because it's like
it's so much easier remote, right?
But everybody's fucking terrified of remote. It's the easiest shit ever, and I get it's really hard for teachers because you have to get the kids to pay attention. Fine, I'm not saying there's no. But
it's not a difficult thing to do.
But it's easy. It's easy to do initially. There's shit you have to deal with. I get it. I know why we don't want to always remote, but like in the face of this bullshit, it's so easy to remote.
Because it seems that at a certain point you're going to have all of your classes canceled anyway, and then there just won't be school, and everyone will have COVID or be dead. Yep. Where you could have just not had school, and the other thing about children being dead wouldn't be true.
All the humans are going to die. All the humans are going to die.
And we did it to ourselves.
Yay!
No, so I've been at home this week. This has been my work from home week, and so I've been grinding Final Fantasy X.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been great.
I still need to get further in that. I'm like 20 hours in.
Hey, that's not so bad though. 20 hours is that's like 60% or something.
Yeah, I got like pretty far, and then just some other game come out that I really wanted to play. And this always happens to me with like I'll play a single player game, and if I'm not like super invested in it, I'm like,
You have
other new,
as well.
other new shiny game. This one gets put to the side.
Oh my god. Yeah. So Jordan, I don't want to speak for you, but I think you've just been playing WoW too. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, man. I've been sleeping like 5 hours a night. Like when I'm not working, I'm like, wow, I'm so tired right now because I went to bed at like 2:30 and woke up at 8.
Yeah, I went to bed at like 3 and I woke up at 10 and my cat thought I was dead. I woke up with my cat's paw like in my mouth. She was just like, "What are you doing? Stop being dead. Feed me." I'm like,
Yeah, so it's been a while that I've played a game where I've been like this obsessed. So that's cool. It's a good feeling initially, as long as it doesn't last forever, right? Like,
no. Yeah.
Well, they're gonna try and drag that out of you. That's how they. That's how they make their money. You are playing.
This sounds like drugs.
It is.
It is driving drugs.
It is drugs. It's just.
This isn't a colloquialism.
It's just heroin with prettier colors. Yeah. That's
okay.
Well, there's so much stuff to do. You know, it's just once I feel like it'll slow down once we like get caught up and like have all the like gear and have done a lot of the content. It'll like you won't feel that need to just like grind and like get everything and get ahead.
Yeah, I think eventually once you catch up to a certain point, there are like little lulls. So that's pretty true. Yeah, I'm working on my like second character right now. So once I get them both kind of caught to a certain point, you have a lot less to like push through. But early on, it's you basically save yourself work if you get things out of the way early. Is like I think what I'm getting at. You get certain things out of the way like the first couple weeks of the game when there's less pressure to like push because like some of the hard content isn't released yet. So it's like you don't really get rewarded for pushing that hard on a single character this week. So if you want to be a super no-lifer and have multiple characters, it's a good week to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, remember when I said we were going to quit talking
queue,
about
right?
WoW? Remember that? Yeah, except for the 3-hour queue that I had to deal with.
Can we talk about how pretty the zones are first? They're so pretty.
Oh, do you want to
Like
talk about
art,
the prettiness?
The art is so good.
Go for it.
Describe to me the prettiness, Jordan.
Well, like the first zone you go into is just this like Roman-based like mythology zone where they're like angels and they have like they even put like when they drop you into like hell basically initially, and the first thing you see is like the River of Souls, and like of course that's going to be in there because it's in every piece of media that has any sort of hell or
afterlife,
afterlife thing. And then like what the second area didn't stand out to me that much.
Maldraxxus
in terms of like it's like
death.
the
underworld
stuff
type, yeah.
And Ardenweald is like this like fairy place. It's like the prettiest zone in any game ever. It has like giant trees that have like galaxies swirling above them.
The WoW art team, for like as much as WoW shits the bed in a lot of ways, just fucking is the best goddamn team ever. Like they just carry that entire game on their backs. They have this fucking 20-year-old game engine that's fucking dog shit. There's no reason it should be able to be as pretty as it is, and they just fucking put this shit together and it looks amazing. Yeah, Ardenweald is really cool. I agree.
Yeah, that's what I would say. It just looked a lot better than I thought it was going to look.
That they always pull that.
The game is so old.
Yeah, they pull that out of their ass every time, dude. I don't know how they do it. Like that's one of the most like underrated feats in gaming. I feel like is like I feel like anybody could take like Unreal Engine and like make something that looks pretty, but like taking like it's like cooking. It's like if somebody cooks you like a really good like tuna steak, you're like okay, but I mean if you put bluefin tuna on a grill, it's gonna taste good.
Yeah.
But like if you make me some fucking like
sawdust burgers.
Yeah, like some like I don't know, like tripe or something like just like if you make like a good meal out of like lower quality
mackerel burger.
Yeah.
Oh
exactly.
God, that sounds disgusting.
That sounds really
would it be
awful.
Why did you just say mackerel burger? I don't like it.
Mackerel is like
cool.
the worst fish.
But yeah, let's move in. Do you guys want to do? What do you want to move into here? Nintendo stuff. You want to start with Smash? Maybe I think we got more Nintendo things to complain about.
We do
as ever. I think there's been new revelations that I'm not even as up to date on. So
I'm outdated. So I'll let Jordan lead the charge. Yeah.
That was what I was prepping or whatever. I was just going over all the shit that Nintendo did because it was
drama.
A lot.
Oh, why don't you give us some bullet points, Jordan? Actually, that sounds like a good thing. I only skimmed those. Give us some bullet points of things. I saw like League had a video out. I saw like a couple people were saying that they had been.
So basically, there was this person and they made a Twitter account like Anonymous Smasher 2, right? And they posted this twitlonger of just all these things that they had insider info for that Nintendo has done over the years to hamper Smash as a whole is competitive scene, not even just Melee, all of the Smash games.
Yeah, because yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, and I'm talking like millions and millions worth of stuff that Nintendo has just completely shut down and not let the community to. Like, to the point where Smash would be like a tier 1 esports with millions of dollars in prizes consistently, but Nintendo would not let it happen behind the scenes.
That's the only reason we're not League of Legends.
That is like the only reason. Like, okay, so like,
isn't that so validating though in a way? As like as depressing as that is, isn't it?
To know that you could be.
It's like when you find out you've been getting gaslit, and you're like, oh my god. This is why.
In a sense, this is validated.
I hate this is awful, but also I understand now. Like I'm not.
Would you look at the light?
Yeah, so like HTC, ESL, MLG all tried to do like circuits and tournaments and grassroots stuff, and Nintendo wouldn't let them. Red Bull tried to do this thing where they would have all these locals they'd like give a bunch of money to, and then like fly people out to like a big finale circuit thing, like local top players. Nintendo didn't let them do that. Twitch tried to do a multi-million.
Keep saying, and Nintendo didn't let them do that.
And Twitch was in talk with Nintendo for like over a year for the circuit that they were planning, where they would front all of the money. Nintendo had to do nothing but allow them to do this. Millions of dollars per year in prize money for circuits for Smash. Red Bull was like involved in this too. It was like Twitch, Red Bull, and Nintendo like cut Red Bull out and then like led on Twitch for like a year. This is like around Smash 4 and Melee because they knew Ultimate was coming out. So they kept just being like, okay, maybe eventually. And then Ultimate came out and they just like ghosted Twitch. So Twitch never got to do that multi-million-dollar Smash circuit.
And I will tell you, like, just as a quick pin, that Red Bull, for those of you who are more Smash players and maybe less like traditional fighting game, Red Bull puts on a fucking fantastic event. Red Bull did a lot of events for Street Fighter 4 during its heyday when it was like doing really well, and they were. They had
sponsored players. They had Snake Eyes. They had Bonchan.
The money they put into like the production, into the pot and everything. Like it's just a really good event, and so like that's beyond even missing out. Like I'm not even talking like, I mean Evo is great because it's like the biggest grassroots event, but it's not even like that. It's like a much more like proper production. Yeah, that's what Red Bull brought to the table. So that fucking sucks.
Also, do you remember they had Red Bull at the bar?
Red Bull.
This might just me. Yeah. Okay. What? So Red Bull had invested in like one of the combo breakers, one of the earlier ones that I had gone to, and they had a bar at Combo Breaker for you to go and get drinks while you were watching the matches after most of everything had been tied up. So you could get you couldn't get water anywhere. You couldn't buy bottled water. It was really fucking hot. I hated it.
I don't remember that. That's fucking hilarious.
I think this was before the year that you came.
How dare you drink water, you fucking plebes?
Yeah, if you went up, they were like, "Do you want a can of Red Bull though? We could even put some alcohol in it." It's like, yeah, I guess it's wet, right?
Dude, I'm not even done either.
Yeah, keep going.
That was like half.
Okay, tell us all of the
Nintendo also killed PM.
Yeah, we know
not,
that. Yeah.
Not with the cease and desist, but they went to literally like every big tournament organizer and told them they wouldn't like let them run their tournaments if they had PM, and they wouldn't work with them. So the tournament organizers just had to like drop PM.
So, okay, now hang on. Do you have details for what that means? Because in my understanding, Nintendo has really never been particularly helpful. My understanding of them sponsoring events is basically like they just give some bullshit pot bonus.
Right.
But
back then, they were assuming, or maybe not assuming, maybe they even said like they'd get monetary gains for their tournaments for not running Project M. And then Nintendo never did that. Like Nintendo was like, hey, we want to work with you, but we can't because... Like Nintendo would contact these tournaments, which Loyal Tournament had been sponsored by Nintendo by then. And they're like, hey, we want to work with you, but we can't because you're running Project M.
They canceled it on the premise that they would have gotten money from Nintendo. Nintendo was like, we would work with you if you canceled this. Then they canceled it, and then they were like, lol, have a nice day.
Exactly. That is exactly what happened.
God.
Pretty fucked up.
That's so much worse than if they were already getting money from them.
Yes.
It's one thing to pay someone to kill somebody, but it's another thing to pay to not pay them and still demand they kill somebody.
Yeah. Okay, so this dates all the way back. I don't know if anyone knows the tournament series Melee FC. It was like the first big national Smash tournament series, right? Like there was other singular tournaments that were pretty big before, but Melee FC and OC were the two, and they were in California in the Midwest. And they were run by the Kish brothers, and it was in a church, and all the top players slept in this church the entire tournament. They had a bunch of rooms, so like it was a 3-day tournament. Everyone slept in the venue, so people were just always playing Smash.
What year is this? Like 2004 or some shit?
Yes. Yeah. It was like 2004, 2005, 2006. So he ran a bunch of these, and the last one he ran, he contacted Nintendo because they're getting bigger and bigger. And Nintendo told him that if he were to continue running tournaments, that they would take legal action against him. So he never ran another one.
That'll teach him to try and enrich the community.
Nintendo.
Feels like, hey, I have this giant gathering of your fans every year that play for like $200. Like, and they all love your game, and they're like, we're going to sue you.
Quit.
This is from like 2004, 2005. Like this is they've been doing this.
Would they've been involved like during? I remember like Melee first was like big in like MLG, and then it like went away, and then Brawl was the same way, where Brawl was like getting really big in MLG, and then it also just went away.
That was Nintendo, yes, because they tried to get streaming rights, and Nintendo wouldn't let them. If you remember, they could not stream Brawl, so they had Brawl, and then when they figured out they couldn't stream it, they dropped it because Nintendo wouldn't give them the rights to stream it.
Jesus fuck.
Literally every
step.
Smash would be like a tier 1 esport. And everyone's always been like, why isn't Smash a tier 1 esport? It's like, it's so many views on Twitch. Like everyone loves it. Like that's why. Like purposely, because Nintendo is so archaic and just like Japanese 80-year-old men.
Yeah,
like,
is that it? Do we know?
Yes.
Yeah, because okay, I hear that a lot, and honestly, it sounds plausible. But also, like, I just wonder, like, what is? I want someone to do like a corporate expose on like their culture, because I want to know if that really is the case. Because I think it's really easy to be like, hey, it's just these old Japanese guys, and it's the corporate whatever bro life structure. And I think that could be the case. But if it is, I want to know what that looks like.
Right.
Like, what are they really gaining? Is it really just like someone's grandpa who's just like a fuddy-duddy at the top, and he's like, fuck these fucking... I hate competitive gamers. Real athletes lift weights and then shut down all the Twitch streams.
Dude,
like, is there just one dude doing that?
Literally, probably just like
Mr.
one
Nintendo.
Dude.
Like,
yeah, because they recently even their games have been getting really good and like better and better, because they're like their Zelda games and stuff, their Mario games, their internal games, because they hired a bunch of like young talented developers. So their like development team is like very like up to date and good, and then they're like legal like business people are like super archaic, and there's this huge disconnect in the company where they make like really good stuff because they have all these like young talented people, and then everything is handled horribly because of the people in charge.
Do you think they're afraid that the games, if they allowed it to become a quote a tier 1 esport, do you think that they're afraid that it would stop being family fun bullshit, no one cares game, and like that's the whole thing?
Absolutely.
I think they're
absolutely stupid, but yes.
Why? Because, like, do they know that people play League of Legends casually? Are they aware that sometimes people just play video games?
I think they are, but I think it's like I think it's okay. I'm gonna first start with like what their logic is, which is basically like if the competitive people, the really really hardcore people, like if they become the face of the product, right? If they become the face, they're like, their logic is like, well, then the only way anyone will see it will be as this competitive thing, and that will prevent like new people from wanting to pick it up. And I don't think that's illogical if you mind the gap that they leapt over.
Sure.
But the thing that argument misses, and I think it's like, it's a very like common one that I think like the fuddy-duddies make with stuff like this. It's basically a slippery slope argument. But what you're missing with that, more importantly than anything that I could sit here all day and talk about how it's a slippery slope and it's not proven and blah, blah, blah. That's not even important. At the end of the day, the main thing that's important is that the casual people don't fucking know about us. It doesn't matter how big we get. They won't. It's like when you have there's like all these really big metal concerts in Europe that are like the metal festivals where it's like millions of people. It's like 50 billion times bigger than Woodstock. And yet
Not
still,
to be confused with Metal Fest. Totally
yes,
different.
Metal Fest is a different thing where I play Smash in my tiny apartment with a bunch of 12-year-olds.
50,000 people.
So like all these people, and then it's like no one knows about it. Everybody just thinks metal is like a weird music genre that doesn't. So it doesn't matter, in my opinion, how big it gets. It has to be as big as what, baseball, right? Or something. And it's so far from that. Like no casual person is going to care about it. Even if they knew it was a thing, they won't care. They'll just look at it and go, oh, huh. And then they'll go back to like, watching fucking shitty serialized television or something. But
Survivor season 42.
Yeah, watching
Like,
Survivor.
how is it going to stop someone from buying their product? That's what I don't get. Like,
not.
Okay. So
people are good at that. I can't buy that.
Yes. So no, that's a great point too, because so like we'll take what I just said and then we'll take that too, because I think you have to attack it at every point, right? Because it's very easy to assume for people to be like, well, it's their IP, they want to protect it, and that's what I hear all the time. People want to assume that and do it, but like even let's take baseball again, right? Let's take baseball again. Are there like kids that aren't playing baseball for fun because there are professional baseball players?
Yeah.
No,
Terrified.
in fact, it's the exact
Quite the
fucking
opposite,
opposite of
yeah.
that, where the fact that there are professional baseball players actually makes everybody want to play baseball as a kid. And
because they're like, oh, that looks so cool. And he hit that home run. I want to hit that
I
home
want to hit a
run.
home run when I grow up.
That's the problem is like if you just speak into the vacuum, like, well, Nintendo wants to protect their IP. I understand that. I see so many people just say that. Like they just
It's
say
a bullshit bad faith argument.
I don't even know
you don't
that
have
they
to
know
cover
that it is,
anything.
though. I think they've
wonder
been
of,
like
bad faith
preconditioned.
argument.
Yeah, exactly. They've like been conditioned into that as well. So it's like, but none of it makes any sense. Like
I think the
they would be
worst-
better off in every way.
I think the worst part of it all is how much they're shooting themselves in the foot too. Like they could be making so much money and have such good PR. No, that's not the worst. From their perspective, right? Like I feel like once they realize this, like eventually someone at Nintendo is gonna like die or something. And like some new person's gonna be like, what were they doing? Right? And then like the company is gonna get like so much profit supporting random stuff and having good PR, and they're gonna be like, what were we doing for like the last 10 years?
That's like, I just don't, it would be so easy for them, but I can't think of what else it could be besides old fuddy-duddy at the top guy.
I can't either. That's the only thing that defies logic, right? Like it has to be some old person that just doesn't understand.
Get it.
Like
Someone
that
in a place of power.
No young person would like not understand. Like I just can't fathom it.
Oh, God. Well, how far did you get through those bullet points, Jordan? Like 3-4?
I got them all.
You got
nice.
Okay. Thank goodness. Yeah, so I don't know. Nintendo is the worst, best company ever.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks that they keep making games that we like. Because if this was just some bullshit nobody cared about, then we'd just be like, oh yeah, isn't that fucked up? How that game no one cares about it is not.
There's actually a reason I always give. Like I played a lot of random platform fighters, as they're called.
Yeah.
Just because I really like trying to find a game that's not made by Nintendo that I like so much.
It's so sad, right? Like how far, like it's done more work than probably any other game community. I would say, like if you look at what they've accomplished compared to,
sure,
yeah,
it's the only comparable one.
Yeah, you have to go pretty far. You have to go pretty far back into like.
StarCraft kind of started like the esports stuff. Like they were the first people like holding big tournaments and stuff.
Well, and I think that's what's so like interesting about it. Like if you look at the trajectory of like a normal fighting game versus Smash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Street Fighter 2 was around way before Smash, and you know, it's the first fighting game thing and sure. But like I don't know, I guess we need to get some like person older than us even on here, but like I don't ever recall there being anything like this from Capcom, which is like a very Japanese company also. So like what is like the cultural difference in like, I don't know enough about like Japanese culture, I don't know enough about corporate culture, but there are clearly gaming companies that are based in Japan that handle this far better. I mean, Capcom, Namco for one. Namco even did the balance.
Absolutely.
Did the balance for Ultimate, right? But Namco didn't publish it, so that's the difference. But Namco has no problem, you know, propagating Tekken out there through its world tour and blah 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 blah. No problem at all. Totally knocks it out of the park. I mean, I'm sure it could be better, whatever. But
I think
what is different? Like
the difference is that Nintendo is so obsessed with keeping a family image. They're like Disney. Like they're like, don't touch our shit. This needs to be for everyone. Whereas Capcom has always had like mature games, right? So like they are fine with people like, right. Yeah. I just mean mature, not in rating. This just a sense of like people are like beating the shit out of each other. Or like Mega Man is like shooting, I don't know. Like they have Resident Evil, right? Like
Resident Evil is the outlier, I feel like, but it is there, and Nintendo doesn't have anything like it. So I mean, I think it still matters. Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I feel like Nintendo is just very foolishly scared of like harming their like image of family friendliness because especially because the Wii made them so much fucking money because it sold so well casually. Like it made them so much money they could like go in the red for the next like 30 years and still be fine because of the Wii.
It's been so many years though, dude. Like is there
30? I said 30
like a
years.
propaganda poster on the wall where like when you come into work at Nintendo, you get out of your like very gray monochrome like automatically driven car and somebody scans your eye to make sure that you didn't eat too many poppy seeds the night before because that would harm your health too much. And then you get out and there's just a sign that says protect Father Nintendo. Don't let the non-family friendly games I would if this was like a trend that was happening over 5 years
you'd get it. Oh, okay.
Over like over a period of time when a certain CEO is there, but like how do they keep finding people?
It's like they indoctrinate like people into the
That's
Nintendo
what I mean. Yeah, it's like when you talk about like faking the moon landing, right? You're like, okay, what is the scope of people that you would need for the government to cover up this conspiracy? Like all conspiracy theories,
it's like 300,000 or something.
They always unravel when it's like, how many people would you need to keep the secret? And then it's like, there's no fucking way one of those people. So like, how is there not at some point someone at Nintendo that's like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Like, is it? Yeah. I don't know. I feel almost like a bit. Like it has racist, to be like coming out to be like it's just old Japanese people, like that just seems
dude. Nintendo of America had Project M in their break room.
It's because they were trying to have a good time.
Nintendo of America versus Nintendo of Japan.
Like I know they had it because like I know people that work there, and they told me like they would play Project M in the break room.
This is a public podcast. Let me know if I need to clip that out or not. Don't drop too many names. That's a spicy bit of information.
It's his uncle.
That's a very spicy fact.
I've talked with Nintendo personally over Smashboards stuff because we had Smashboards on our front page, and they contacted us and had a meeting with like AlphaZilla and me. And who at the time? ZV? Someone else. And they were like, hey, you can have Project M stuff on your site. That's fine. Just like don't have it on the front page. Can I like hide it? Like
really?
Yeah.
Hold on. This is a little bit salacious.
This is very spicy, Jordan.
Yes.
Please repeat what you just
said. I appreciate that you're giving this to the Metal and Lex podcast.
Guys, we've got you heard it first.
Yeah.
Metal and Lex podcast.
No. Do tell. So did they talk to all of you or did you?
Yeah, it was just like it was like a Skype call. Literally like a Skype call.
How did a Skype call happen?
Just they contacted AZ and was like, hey.
Like they contacted AlphaZilla by like email or something, and they
we did have a meeting about your.
What year is this?
Oh god, 2013, 2014, 2013, was somewhere around there.
You'll have to forgive me because I was playing Street Fighter or Marvel at the time.
AlphaZilla is the owner of Smashboards.
Yes,
that's who AZ is.
Since MLG sold it, since what 2010 or something.
Something like 2011.
Okay. Yeah. Help me out. I was Marvel blind at the time. When was Project M properly killed by Nintendo?
I would say like around the end of 2013 or early 2014, right before Smash 4 came out.
Okay, so this would have been like at the same time as they were telling you don't put that shit on the front page, or okay.
Project M was the biggest Smash game for a while by like a lot. The largest tournament ever was a 400 something person Project M tournament at the time. It had beaten all previous Melee and Brawl tournaments.
Wow.
Jordan really did do his homework. Have we ever been this prepped?
No.
I feel like a reporter right now.
I was so ingrained in that community because I was the liaison between... The reason I started working on PM stuff because I was the liaison between Smashboards and Project M. Project M had its own website for stuff and they kind of integrated into Smashboards, which helped them like get bigger.
Helped Smash boards get bigger, or help Project?
No,
M
help
get
Project
bigger?
M get bigger.
Okay.
Yeah,
Smash
Project
Bros.
M
was
would have been
huge back then.
smaller initially. Yeah, for sure.
Also, around the same time, Smash Bros. Got DDoSed for 6 months. By the way,
Just saying. By someone.
I don't know by who, but it was for 6 months. Who has money to do that for 6 months? I'm not going to say that. That's actually slander. But I have no idea who did it.
There's no way to tell who did it. But
it was
also,
some rich person that we banned.
I remember that actually because they had to switch to Cloudflare.
Yeah. Switch it. Oh, no. We switched to Cloudflare, right? And we're like, oh, everything's good now. They took down Cloudflare servers in Chicago and took down a ton of websites, literally just to keep us offline.
whoever it was.
Hard. Like, they're like, oh, Cloudflare, that's cool. Let me just. No. What they did is they targeted Cloudflare's ISP. They like took down like fucking Comcast or something. DDoS like Comcast. So their Cloudflare doesn't have internet, so we can DDoS Smash Boys.
Well, DDoSes do happen all the time. Who knows?
I don't actually think that was Nintendo because I feel like that's so illegal. Like they wouldn't risk that.
That seems unlikely. Yeah,
it was around the same time though, so it was like, what the fuck, dude?
It is a weird time.
What the fuck? It was horrible.
God. Well, yeah, Nintendo. I don't know, man. I hope they figure some shit out. I don't have a lot of hope, if I'm being honest. I mean, I feel like they're just gonna try and bury this. I know people are still trying to make the hashtag happen, but I feel like
Save Melee.
Yeah. Well, it's not Save Melee anymore. It's Save Smash. It was Free Melee, and now it's Save Smash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I hope it does well, but like I don't know. My vision of like the future of this is like I feel like people are just gonna be like, oh well, who cares? It's just a dumb video game. Shouldn't you be happy? Like it just seems like it isn't. We still don't have.
I've been saying that. I thought.
Well,
isn't that specifically the mindset that Nintendo's trying to has been cultivating for the past 14 years or whatever?
Yeah,
they want it to be just a bullshit video game. No one gives a shit about it. It's not serious business. No one's trying to make a livelihood off of this.
That's what I'm saying. I think that is likely to win out because I feel like
That's the
okay.
point.
So who are you trying to whenever you have something like this happen, right? Whenever you have some horrible thing and you want to expose it to the world, right? You're trying to get like the fucking, the Beckys of the world, right? You're trying to get them to take notice because they're not normally part of your community. Everyone in your community knows what's going on, but you need these random fucking, basic people that aren't really part of it to understand. But I feel like when it's something like this, they're going to look at it and just be like, what? People are playing Smash Brothers and they can't I guess I'm saying I don't know how you get traction into the mainstream with an issue like this.
They're actually really smart. The Melee community is being really smart about it. What they're doing is they're hosting gigantic charity tournaments.
That is really smart.
Ludwig is hosting a tournament that may have the largest prize pool ever, and all of it is going to charity.
I saw that tweet that he made, and he was like, "And I'll fucking do it again next month if you fucking
He's going to shove it in Nintendo's face.
It's a great answer to everything I was just saying. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Shut this down.
You shut down the charity tournament, you got fucked.
Shut this fucking shit down. No, that is genius. That is absolutely awesome.
So props to Ludwig. That was very smart.
So yeah, I guess if we just keep making a bunch of money for fucking breast cancer like we did in 2013 when they tried to fucking close Evo.
Charity is like, oh yeah, Nintendo's.
I think that is the strat. I mean, that's how you do it, right? Because then suddenly now they're shutting down a charity event. You're just like, wait, fucking what? What are they doing?
Nintendo and then the Karens of the world are like, oh no, we like charity.
Yeah. See, this is exactly. No, that's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, because I was trying to think about it. If I sit down and I tried to explain this to my girlfriend, Nintendo's shutting down tournaments, she will just glare at me until I stop talking. And it's probably not related to the.
This is Becky, Alex's girlfriend. Becky.
Yeah, my girlfriend Becky. But if I told her, they shut down a fucking breast cancer awareness charity tournament, she'll be like, well, that is
fucking
messed up.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that of Nintendo.
Also, people are trying to play video games, but breast cancer.
Cancer.
That's the strat. I think that is the strat. Oh my god, dude. This shit is fucking wild.
I can't believe that.
Jesus. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I hope Nintendo fucking gets their shit together, but if I'm a betting man, they're just going to keep sucking ass. We'll see.
until such a point, worst case scenario for them, all they have to do is stomach that a couple of charity tournaments exist because eventually people will stop that. All they have to do is just shut down the ones that are for fun or for people trying to have a good time.
They play the slow game. Yeah,
they've got the money for it.
They've got the money to wait us out. Yeah, absolutely.
Or they could hypothetically DDoS all of the charities.
Hypothetically, this is purely
it is.
This is just a thought experiment.
At least it's unfortunate for Nintendo that like the Melee community is literally like the most passionate community about anything ever, and will like fucking be so stubborn and like annoying to them. Like they'll like go out of their way to be super annoying to Nintendo.
Will and I had talked about that on a previous podcast about Dead Games, how like it's only really happened like twice if we count StarCraft. It's StarCraft and Melee are the only elephants in the room. Marvel's dead. I love it to death, and maybe it's not dead because they just had that Twitch Rivals tournament or whatever. It's dead. Yeah, it's dead. Or at least if it's not dead, it's never going to be alive in the same way that Melee currently is. And that's due entirely to the, I'm going to say, fervor of the fans.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So of all of the enemies for Nintendo to have their most adamant, ardent fans, I think that's suitably ironic and probably the best bet that we have.
Yeah, I agree. It looks grim, right? Like you're like facing major corporations with billions and billions and billions of dollars. Like Robin Harn, who's the host for The Big House, which is everything that started all of this.
Yeah, The Big House
could probably take them to court and do it like pretty fucking well. Nintendo's lost like 4 lawsuits against companies modifying their products.
Well, that's the problem though with court in America, though, is that when you're the smaller thing, you get blood dry anyway. Yes, like even if you win in court, you lose in your pocketbook.
So much money that he can't do that, even though he has precedent and ground to stand on, right? Even though other people have won against Nintendo for the same thing, but those other people were companies that had money to actually like fight Nintendo, and he is just a person. So
he's just a dude. I can't wait till they sue me for UFD. This is all so exciting.
Have you thought about that?
I have.
They wouldn't sue. They would cease and desist first. But
they would C&D first, but yeah.
What do? Do you just shut it down, pack it up, and you're like, damn?
Yeah, I think so.
That sucks. I'm sorry.
What he would have to do is take all the images off. It would be fine with just the data.
Yeah. That's probably. I mean, that's probably why that already happened with Google Play Store. I had to fucking pull all the. I don't have to pull down from what I can tell. So yeah, I think Google Play is like a good indicator of this because they are obnoxiously fascist, basically about what you can and can't put on the store. But
what they could do is have hand drawn. You would have to get someone to do hand drawn.
Yeah, that's an option. But yeah, the character, the images, it's like the screenshots are like considered copyrighted. So it's like those are considered copyrighted, but like. Not the screenshots, the character art. It's like when you pick your character, but then a screenshot of the character is generally not considered copyrighted, which is typically why like I can get hitbox animations up.
Weird. Okay.
But I had to pull down all the character images off of the Android app.
Okay.
So yeah,
which
weird.
Copyright law in general
laws are
really
is fucked on purpose.
I hate laws. I hate them. Let's just go back to the Wild West. Where I'd be probably dead by now, but yeah.
2 6-shooters, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's put a cork in that. That fucking Nintendo, dude. I don't know.
The worst.
All right, now is when Lex and I try to get Will to play Persona.
Oh no. Man. Is this all you thought that I didn't know about?
The Blue Boys twist. Instead, it's going to be us convincing you to play Persona. Sorry, Will.
Tell me about this shitty game, you fucking weirdos.
You're shitty.
We've had enough dumb conversations about this game and its penis monsters.
No.
You would think a game with penis monsters would appeal to me. No.
Yeah, right.
Wow, what the hell? I don't appeal to you. It's a dark, nihilistic game with penis monsters that deals with fucking societal oppression and groupthink and...
Usually God is awful.
It doesn't appear self-aware to me. My problem with like a lot of the hyper weeb shit is that it isn't often like, okay, if you let's think about, do you know the play Avenue Q?
Yes.
Jordan does not. Avenue Q is a play with puppets. It's about puppets.
Yeah, it was in the style of like Sesame Street. Almost.
Yeah, they're like Sesame Street style puppets, but all they talk about is like fucking each other and having sex and shit. Lex died. I'll just keep explaining for our dear viewers. So you may have seen there's a video that everybody knows from back in the day. It's like a song that got remade WoW had like videos of it. I feel like every game had it where some guy's singing a song and it's just like do 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 do. It's like this very happy song, and the refrain is "grab your dick and double click for porn," and it's all about like looking at porn and jacking off. So it's sung by the
internet is really really good.
Yeah, the internet is for porn or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, so basically, that whole thing was done as this like play to see what they could get away with on Broadway because puppets can say shit. And my point and how this relates to Persona and other games and things like that is that they knew writing that it was ridiculous. I feel like I don't see that when I look at games like Persona. Is kind of my point. I feel like it doesn't seem like they're trying to make it like this weird over the top thing. It seems like they're trying to make it like this cool weird thing, and then it comes off as dumb. Does it inauthentic? It feels less authentic to me. It feels less
if
real.
I may,
yes,
if I may, in the first dungeon, full disclosure, I've only made it through the first palace. I'm in the second palace in Persona 5. I've played 3, I've played 4. I'm still grinding 5, and I was trying to get through 10 to play 5. In the first palace, there is a guard for a room that's a monster, and you fight him, and it's like Satan, but he's sitting on a toilet.
Sure.
There is no way you can convince me that they thought that was super hyper serious. On some level, if you've got the devil on the toilet as an enemy, you gotta accept that they know what they're doing.
I think the marketing doesn't look like that to me, though. Like maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's like maybe they don't market it the same way. Like maybe if I sat down and played it, I'd realize it more.
I mean, aside from like the influence they're using from like certain cultures for a lot of these monsters and stuff, and that's just the whole universe that it's based in. Persona as a series is a side series to
Shin Megami Tensei.
Shin Megami Tensei. And Shin Megami Tensei is where all this stuff comes from, right? Yep. So that's all like dark demons, edgy stuff.
Persona I don't know anything about that.
Persona is like the real life, how that would like affect like real life people. Like if like people go about their days not knowing any of the demon shit happens, right? And then you have like characters like Rin, which is Joker from Persona 5, like
just a dude who's going to high school who had a bad run-in with the police.
It has like an unfortunate story, and it gets like pulled into all this shit, and like it's very shocking to like all the characters as well. They're like, "What the fuck? Like, what is all this shit?" I don't know. It's very it's got a very dual like tonality to it, where it's like there's a huge separation between normal and really fucking weird. And
they do that every game. Yeah.
And the game isn't just like, oh, weird crazy shit everywhere. It's like you're just a normal dude going to school, and like the teacher's raping one of his students.
Totally.
And like you're like, yeah. I mean, and then you go
sad.
And then you have to like you by whatever means can go into like basically an alternate dimension where like
it's his subconscious.
It's his subconscious, and that teacher's subconscious, he's like the king of the school. So like his grotesque form is like brought on by his like evil desires, right? So it's like playing into the characters, the villains, like desires as humans. Like he lusts for like kids or like and is abusive, and so he's like basically like personifies himself as like king of the school. And that in turn, in like the alternate reality or whatever, like he's actually personified as that, hence the word like entitled persona. And that also applies to all the random enemies and stuff. They're just like manifestations. I can do that. I can say a word of people's like evil carnal desires, right? So they're often grotesque or
vaguely
vaguely sexual, or like, so that's how that game like plays into that and sort of separates those two things.
That is so much better than every perception I've ever had of that game. So first of all, that kind of sounds interesting, and I hate that. So fuck you. But more importantly, just looking at it, I just don't get that. And there is something there.
That's fair.
There is something there where like there is like a very.
I was bored the first like 6 hours I was playing the game. I was like, I don't get it. Why do people like this?
Oh my God, why did you keep playing for 6 hours?
Because everyone fucking loved it so much. I was like, I don't know, like this is just normal shit to me. And then like I at some point I don't even remember when. It wasn't even like some specific thing. I just like could not stop playing. I was like, what? This is the most interesting thing I like ever played. The game is so like it delves into so many like dark, crazy topics that a lot of games are like scared to dive into, you know, like rape or like abuse and extortion,
physical, sexual,
fucking raising a child to be like your
progeny, your successor, sort of
successor in like crime, but like they're like evil, like or they're not evil, like I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff that's like fucked up.
I think that a part of your problem is in the framing of the game, because you see Penis Monster because that's what we're all talking about, because it's kind of a striking image. But like you miss that clear division because you're walking through just the normal world, and then your cell phone app clicks or whatever, and then like the world shifts, and you've got that clear demarcation between we're here in the real physical present and we're diving into this rapist subconscious, and maybe that's why everything here is all fucked up.
Yeah, so basically, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you good?
Yeah. the game,
you
like,
guys. You can do it.
Yeah, so it's like you're going into basically like corrupted, evil people's brains, and you're stealing their treasure, which is the theme of the game, which removes the corruption from them, and then they basically cannot function as a person without like admitting all their sins and like turning themselves in, and you're basically like cleansing them. And even to the point where you're basically like vigilantes, and like the public's perception of you is not even necessarily as heroes. So like the game like deals a lot with like groupthink and like society's impression of like corporate versus non-corporate, or like
the individual versus the collective.
Yes, and there's a big focus on that theme as well.
The whole way that the game is phrased and couched is in Jungian psychology. I'm just not if you're vaguely aware of Carl Jung. Okay,
like you have ascended into a plane of hipsterdom that I cannot follow.
Not really. Okay, so Freud, Sigmund Freud.
Sure.
Okay, he had a not understudy, but he had a pupil, Jung, Jung. And Jung said that there was a way that you can interpret a lot of the stories that we tell, a lot of the lore, like folklore and plays and stuff, through the lens of like the progression of the human self. Okay, we'll do the penis monster in a second because it's important. Like the theory here is that any story explains an aspect of the human condition, right? I told you I tweeted at you about the story of Mara. It's a Buddhist story. There's a demon. His argument is that is on some level, even though it's a story about a horrible penis monster named Mara, it is indicative or related to directly the struggle of an individual growing as a person. And that's like the entire theme of the game, is that all of these monsters are just masks, personas that people put on, that they doth to wear and become and present themselves in order to function in society, in order to gain advantages in certain social interactions. All of the monsters are just there as representations of people.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like society is out like they would be outcasts, but they're like hidden within their minds, right? And like since you're seeing into their minds, all of their like dark secrets are presenting themselves as like grotesque things because they're horrible.
And sometimes that means that the way that you need to present yourself is as Arsène Lupin, the Matt LeBlanc's gentleman thief. And resident giant man who hangs over Joker's shoulder, and sometimes that means that you're the penis monster. That's the theme of the game. And if you sit there and the only thing that you took away from that was penis monster, you need to grow up.
I mean, no, I actually, to be honest with you, the penis monster thing is like, I mean, it's just funny first of all.
Yeah.
But like, it's more about just like the rest like of everything that it's like, I don't know, weird cat that's also a bus. And like, and I know Jordan's told me 1,000 times
It makes sense.
about how it makes sense because
It's
people
groupthink.
associate
How many people associate the cats with bus because my name is Totoro, which is a fucking huge thing with Japan that everyone loves.
Okay, fine, but like, it's just weird. It's a weird, like, okay, it's. Let me compare it like, okay, I love like Buffy and Angel. We've talked about 1,000 times in the show. There's weird shit in that show where they're like, people are just like, why is there a green demon with red horns singing karaoke in a 3-piece suit? And you're just like, it's awesome. It makes perfect sense.
Right.
And people are like, I don't understand. So like, I'm sure there is an element to that, but like, there are times when I see stuff like that and it's like intriguing. And there's times when I see it, it's,
okay.
And it just doesn't rub me the right way. And there's just a lot about Persona I've seen. Everything you guys have been saying sounds great. It's just totally at odds with what I see from the game itself. Perceiving. And yes. Yeah, I have no qualms at all with the words that you're saying to me right now. This sounds like if this was something I had never seen before and I just listened to this from you, I'd be like, holy shit, that sounds fucking awesome. I'm going to go play that right now. But I know it's Persona, and there's a stupid fucking cat, and you climb in his butt and ride around in a bus, and I don't understand.
No, listen.
I don't get it. It's weird.
Listen,
it's weird.
No, that's one of the coolest things about the game. Playing it too is you learn so much about Japanese culture. It has the real life areas are represented. Are there the actual real areas in Japan? Like Shibuya.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just going to talk to me about cat butts.
No.
The cat butts are really there in Japan.
Well, they are.
I watched a documentary called Persona 5.
And there are really weird things in the game that are like what you're saying, that even when you're playing that like are like, okay, that's fucking weird, right?
Maybe
like,
that's funny and that's fine. I mean, I like some weird shit. I love like Don Hertzfeld cartoons. So like
most of it is actually like applications of like their culture, and you do actually learn so much about Japan and a lot of their like culture through the game. Even like the real life areas, like what people like doing in those areas, like how like segregated all those areas are for like their activities, like all this stuff like that. And like that the Morgana turning into a bus is a perfect example of that. Like even in the game, they almost break the fourth wall, and they're like, when she chooses a bus, and Morgana's like, for some reason, I can turn into a bus. I don't know why Japan associates cats with buses, but they do. And like clearly they're like referencing My Neighbor Totoro because it's like a huge thing in Japan.
You're traveling in Morgana to navigate what is the collective subconscious, which is a Jungian psychology theory.
Yeah. So a lot of those weird things are actually like insights to their culture, or like things that are popular in Japan, or things that
zeitgeisty effect that everyone's thinking.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Not saying it is not super weird when they all jump in
so impossibly astute with your like.
No. Okay, at one point Morgana swallows them with.
There's no way
with their butt, and it is the dumbest, like weirdest thing ever. And I will give you that. But like, there's plenty of things in the game that are like that. But most of the things in the game are very well like thought out and researched and. So presented.
Is like the story of Persona 5, is it a set like story that you're exploring? Like is it like a GTA thing where you can move around and
the story is it's a reductive story. I don't know the word for it, but basically at the beginning you get caught and you find out someone in your like posse betrayed you.
Very
and
Tarantino.
You go back in time like 6 months, and then you're playing through the whole game knowing this and being like, who did this? Or like why? You're kind of building into this huge like climax, and that's like how the story is like presented.
I think every piece of media should just be you guys jacking yourselves off to hipster shit, because this game sounds so much better hearing it from
Dude, it's so good.
I have to like simultaneously respect you and make fun of you for how ridiculous the last like 15 minutes have been right now, because it is like fucking Lex is pulling out fucking Freud's fuck buddy or whoever is fucking. I don't know shit about this, Alex. I'm trying to fucking drink beer and kill people in World of Warcraft. Alex is fucking talking about goddamn Jungian psychology. I don't fucking know.
This is everything I wanted it to be. This is amazing.
It sounds so much better than you have to, like I said, you have to throw me the bone that like however they present that game is not in line with this. Like I feel like
yes, I agree with you. It is because I approached it the same way. I was like, this is weird. The art is really cool. The like aesthetic of the game is fucking cool. They go like crazy with it, but like the menus are really fucking cool and weird. But they kind of give off the whole vibe of the game. And another just great thing about the game is it presents the like JRPG in such a different way.
Yeah.
It separates a lot of the things that are very annoying about a lot of JRPGs. For example, like countless random battles where you're just facing menus over and over. That is very disconnected in Persona.
Too, because JRPGs are not like a genre I've been very close to.
Yeah,
like I
agree.
Paper Mario and Mario RPG like a million years ago. And then
they have a lot of archaic systems, right?
Yeah,
that are kind of annoying to deal with. Like,
more importantly, I find them incredibly formulaic with regard to story.
Yes,
like to the point where I can't even get into them most of the time. I guess so. All the JRPGs I've played have not been proper JRPGs. Lex was like shaking his head when I said Paper Mario, Mario RPG, or like
those are fine JRPGs.
Huh?
Those are fine JRPGs. I'm not judging you for playing them.
Well,
they're good. They're accessible, but they're good.
Yes, they're not. Yeah, exactly. So like, I've always played games that are like kind of like adjacent or like weird Americanized versions of it because I kind of know what they're about. I remember picking up Final Fantasy back in the day, and I love me some RPGs. We've talked about fucking Skyrim and you know open world games and Alex being a bigot and all of that plenty of times on this podcast. But like, there's just something about the way JRPGs are presented, and I can't really think of a better way to succinctly describe it other than that one ProZD video where he talks about where you meet the bad guy at the beginning of it, and he's just like, I wish the world was as beautiful as I. And then everybody's like, oh, he's such a nice guy. And then at the end, it's like, Lysandra, that was you? And he's like, my evil machinations lay dormant. And you're just like, this is like the most fucking... Like, I just watched Enemy at the Gate, which I had never seen before, and I've heard people say is a good movie. I just watched it the other day when I was like dead, and it is like the most cliche, shitty American blockbuster I've ever seen. Like the music, it's just so bad. It's so over the top. All of the beats are so predictable. Like every time some like horrible tragedy happens, everybody like overacts. Anyway, that's how I feel about most JRPGs in my experience with them. Like, and that's being fair. I have not played a lot of them because that is exactly how they present to me.
Yes.
That's how they present to me. And I look at it and I'm just like, I don't want to get into this. Like, it just doesn't seem so. Yeah, Persona's kind of in that same area. Yeah,
Persona is probably like the most different JRPG from most. It is super first of all, it's in a contemporary setting, which most are not.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so that tones it down a lot from like the crazy, edgy stuff. Although it's pretty edgy.
Without drawing like bumpers on everything and making it like really accessible by making all the characters Mario, I feel like Persona 5 did the best job of making the classic JRPG ideas accessible to, we'll say, a Western audience, but like someone like you specifically, who has never had a good experience. Like, I love JRPGs. I like random battles. I like all of the things that you guys are hating and saying, but like, Persona just does a really good job of shaking up the formula.
Yeah,
it's the Pokemon Black of...
Yeah, so it has the game also. I don't know if you know this, but the game is like Pokemon because you can catch all these personas and like they're typing.
Catch them all, penis man.
And they're typing when you fight, like fire beats ice, like there's all that stuff, but it's like elevated a little. And it's not just a bunch of random battles. You're sort of sneaking around like a dungeon, and you see an enemy, and you can like ambush them and like or sneak around them. Like it's presented way different than most JRPGs where you're just running and then the screen flashes and then you're fighting something random. Yeah. And you're just looking at the same menu every time. And not all of the battles resolve the same way. You can convince the enemy to like join you. You can bribe them. You can kill them. There's like a bunch of different ways to deal with every single encounter in the game. And all the enemies have different personalities that you kind of have to like understand if you want them to like join you. And like there's all this like depth that is just so much more than, oh, you run into Night 5 for the 500th time and you need to grind these like random 5,000 battles.
Zubat? God damn it!
And then when you get tired of like running around in a dungeon for 2 hours, you just go to the real life. And the school and all the real life applications, they all tie into the combat, and like bolstering your relationships with people gives you like new powers in the dungeons. They like help you out. So like the things you do outside affect the things you do in the dungeons. So it feels like you're always doing something proactive.
I don't want to get stronger because of the bonds I've forged with other humans. Fuck that. That sounds awful. Give me a fucking single shonen Naruto power fantasy where I'm fucking do it all myself. And I say it's because of my friends that I'm fighting for, but really I'm just a badass and it doesn't matter. Give me that. That sounds way better.
Such a good job of making you not overwhelmed or like bored with one set thing. As soon as you start feeling like that, oh, you're somewhere else, or like, oh, you can go do something else, or like
the battles in particular are never the monotonous classic JRPG make number go down, make your number go up, make their number go down. It is almost like a puzzle. Every
there's like strategy
is a puzzle. Like
there's a unique mechanic for every fight or something. That's like but how many unique mechanics are there, right? Like there has to eventually be like a set thing where like, you're like, this guy is a blah type and I have to do this.
Yeah, but you can also like,
I'm sure that helps.
Stun people, and if you stun people in a row, you can get this like special thing, but they can also stun you. And then there's like all this, the game can be really fucking hard too. Like it can also like, is there difficulties in Persona? I don't even remember.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think there's like a hard mode.
Cat bus is the only difficulty you can select.
Yeah, that's the only.
The game can actually be really difficult at times. I remember one time I lost 2 hours of progress, like because I just could not, like, just like died in this boss fight because I like couldn't figure it out. I was like, God, this is like I've never had to think like doing like these times. So I like plan out like 6 moves in advance or something. Like it's pretty interesting.
Also, loves a good boss fight. That's like it's like challenging enough that it fucks you up, but not so challenging that you can't overcome
that you lose 2 hours.
Yeah.
Well, that's my fault because I had it saved. I could have saved the way. That was completely on me. I was just not expecting it to actually like be hard. You know, I was like, oh shit, like. I'm gonna start saving a lot more often now.
There's a direct analog to that with the Elder Scrolls series where you walk around the world exploring, okay? And so the game has like autosave every time you enter a dungeon, or you can hit quick save with F5 and quick load with F9. So a lot of times you become a badass, you're wandering around the world, you're just killing shit. And then you don't even remember how long you've been wandering around the world. And then suddenly like you roll up on some like weird giant in a cave somewhere and he just fucks you in the butt and you die. And you're like, oh my God, when was the last time? And like it loads because you've never gone inside. So it never autosaved. It never autosaved. You're like,
happened to me,
my God, I haven't saved for an entire afternoon. And like you have to redo every fucking, God, it's so.
That is literally what happened to me in Persona. Dude, I hadn't played a game like that in so long that I forgot it was like that. You know, all the games now just autosave all the time and everything. But Persona is not one of those games. Persona is like, no, you make every decision always.
That gets points. So I think there's something to be said about that because you have like there's a sense of buy-in and a sense of urgency that comes from you. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, you could just repeatedly save over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. Like eventually you're going to override a save or not be sure. Like I think that is like maybe that's just the old school in me. I don't know. But like there's something about sometimes not having a save point that makes you. Yeah.
You can also only save in Persona in like either the real world or save rooms in the dungeon. You can't just like save scum everything. Like you do have to go through a certain amount of content if you like die far from a save room.
But that just means that establishes stakes.
Yes.
Right. It's important that you sneak. It's important that you're stealthy.
Well said.
Yeah. So and it's just really nice to play like a JRPG like that and have multiple solutions to problems. That isn't always just grind to be high, like
make number go up.
Outwit your enemies. You can sneak around them. Like you can be strong and kill them. Like I don't know. Everything about the game is done really well. I think
you should play the game well.
That's why it is one of my top 5 favorite games. And there's a new version that fixes a lot of the problems that it has. Some of the dungeons are fucking horrible and way too long.
What's it on? Switch, PC?
PS4, Will, which we
PS4.
both know you own.
I'll on PS4?
Yep.
Yeah.
Only on PS4.
Yeah. Unless you wanted to play it on PS3 too.
Oh, well, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Don't you worry, Will. I got it. I'll bring it over next time we hang out.
But you have to stream it. You have to stream it. It's going to be the most entertaining thing of all time.
The best content that no one ever got was me.
Oh man,
was me playing Metal Gear Solid whatever fucking thing with Alex. We should have fucking streamed that. I hated every second of it. I don't understand how anybody plays any of those games, and Alex just could not comprehend. Alex thought I was doing shit for like comedic effect, but there was no audience. We weren't streaming it. He was like, Will, no, you're doing this to get a rise on me. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I can't do whatever you're saying. Like, it was so awful.
I'm not a huge fan of Metal Gear Solid games either. Ooh. But I do like Metal Gear Solid 2, I think. But I'm not a huge fan of the games that are just stories that you're like barely playing, which the more recent ones, I feel like they're that a lot. Like I think the most recent one had like 20 hours of cutscenes or something.
I'm a fan of those games if they double down. If the whole game is like they're like we know what we're about and it's literally just a slideshow that you make to be my guest. But when they try to like sneak bullshit gameplay and be like, we're totally a real video game, guys. Like, no, you're fucking not.
The PS4 specifically is actually really fun, but also they've got multiple hour-and-a-half long cutscenes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yep. It's like insane.
I love it. It's so good.
How long are the total cutscenes in that game?
Metal Gear Solid, I'm going to say something like 10 or 15 hours if you just watch everything.
Damn.
It's really good, though.
Yeah.
It was the perfect payoff for having played that game series for like 12 years or whatever.
Me with ADD, I can't deal with that. I'm an hour into a cutscene, I am gone.
Jordan can only play QuickTime events.
It might just be real fucking interesting. That's why I don't even watch that many movies in general, too, because of that reason.
No. There's some like Spider-Man QuickTime event that always kills me where it's like you're supposed to save this lady as Spider-Man and you're supposed to like hit A to like get her out of the building and the building's about to explode. And like if you mistime it, it just zooms into her face and she goes, I'm gonna die, and then it zooms out of the building and the building blows up. And like you're in there as Spider-Man, like you just fall. You're supposed to hit A. It's like hit A to land as Spider-Man, but Spider-Man jumps and just falls flat on his face, and then it zooms in, and she's like, "I'm gonna die!" Like amazing QuickTime comedy.
Well, even if Will does not play Persona 5, I feel like we have adequately expressed why the game is interesting to us, which I am happy with.
Good job explaining the game. I think you should pat yourselves on the back.
Let's go, Lex.
It almost sounds interesting to me. I still don't know if I would play it.
I know that Lexi do this too. I cannot do this right now.
Will, I'm going to give you two options here, and it's going to feel like just one option. So I would recommend just play it with me because I don't want to have to get the speculum or whatever it's called for the Clockwork Orange set. I don't want to have to dig that out of the basement.
Carve my eyes open and
force me to watch Persona 5 Royale, though.
I've got it.
Oh, nice.
We're good. We're good.
Because a lot of the game, as much as I'm praising it, the end of the game is just not that great because it's very like grinding and start after the big payoff, which is not at the end of the game, it starts to kind of lose interest because you're like, well, I hit the big payoff, right? And now all this stuff I'm doing isn't as interesting.
It like becomes a more normal JRPG.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they fixed a lot of that in Royale because a lot of people had complaints of that. They also fixed a lot of the localization translations that were kind of bad.
They had a few problematic translations or things that they didn't quite think through.
Yeah, like some of the dialogue was just horrible because the translations were just really bad.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna cap us. We're a little over an hour and 10 right now, and you guys have drilled me to the wall.
Yeah,
I'm crucified on a wooden plank of weeb culture about cat buses.
You better stream that shit if you do play it. I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be so mad if you play that game and don't stream it.
I mean, it'll be.
Don't you worry.
It'll be at least a month.
Even if you hit it, it'll be this content of all time. Oh no, not anytime soon.
Yeah, we could do it. It could be fun. We've talked about doing some stuff like that, so it'll be on the docket. I am certainly coming out of this more open to the idea of Persona than I was.
That's all I want.
Still don't know if I'm
the
there,
Clockwork Orange thing.
I feel like A2 is a lost cause. We can't.
No, you can't.
He's from a different time. He's
from the 40s. We know this.
Sure.
He played Kick the Can when he was a kid.
Oh my God. I had like kind of some inkling of hope that A2 would listen to this, and then I was like, no, there's no way.
It's a
A2 will not be this far on the podcast. There's a 0% chance. We could just be like, all my life I've wanted to cut off A2's toes and make stew out of them. He would never. He has not made it to this point. He will never hear it. He'll never know. He'll never know. A2 left this podcast at least 40 minutes ago as a listener.
No, we just have to tell him that we talk about him in it. Yeah. So to sit there.
That's pretty genius, actually. That's good. That's good strat. Oh my God. All right, well, I gotta get some dinner, so I'm gonna cut us off here, boys. But thank you, Jordan, for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was super fun. And I have been Metal Music Man.
I've been Professor Lex.
We will catch you guys next time.